the Black Psyche. A number of things hit me as Professor Bush was speaking. Accountability was one thing that came to mind. When we talk about the breakdown of the black family, accountability. We put so much emphasis on the parents to take responsibility for your upbringing, our upbringing, but the accountability, everyone should be responsible. And that brings me to a very funny story. When I was here at St. John's, I graduated just a few years ago, maybe 1 or 2 years ago. I come from a very strong family. My family, I was the youngest of 11. Very strong family. Mother raised everyone. My father passed away when I was 10, so my mother put us on her back and took care of us. So at home, there was respect. We got beat with switches, belts. You knew what was going to happen if you didn't behave yourself. But when you left the home, there was this freedom, and you kind of feel it now. There's this freedom. You walk out, and you see kids on the bus, and they curse up a storm. Some of them may curse at home. But there are a good many of them that when outside and around their friends, that's what they want to do. So your behavior is different. Well, while here at St. John's, I could never wear a hat in the house, but I love wearing caps. Anybody who knows me will tell you. And I let a couple of months pass without getting a haircut because I could wear my my cap. So one day I registered for a class with Professor Edmonds. Happened to walk into his class with my baseball cap on. That move if you haven't taken his class. He insisted that I remove my cap, which I was not going to do because my hair was horrible. So I asked if I could leave the room to take care of this situation. Of course, I didn't return that day. But it struck me that here's a person that doesn't know me and is trying to instill the same type of respect that my parents would have asked for. And I came back to the class and with a new approach. And just in that, I learned so much more. And one of the other things in Professor Edmonds' class was the first time I really sat down and tried to learn about African history and where we come from. I did a report about the pyramids, and it was the first time I ever sat back and really took a look at it. Professor Edmonds told us about a book, I think it was The History of the World. I'm not sure of the book, but it was the first book written by a white person who actually talked about blacks being the first people on this planet. And it struck me, and then he talked about how they pulled the book out of circulation. And I had to go find this book. So I searched and searched, I found it in the library, of course I borrowed it, I still have it. But again, it just took me back to our feeling about where we come from. And what I do is I work with I train college counselors in high schools who deal with the students and prepare them for college. And what we find is that it's not just the families, but the schools they don't have the same expectations that some families have. They don't have the great expectations that we should have for our minority students. And that's the accountability. That's their responsibility. But they don't have high expectations. So if they don't have high expectations, how are you going to have high expectations? Okay, here you are at home, but yet when you come to school, you may not be getting it at home. Some of our parents haven't even gone to college. My mother, middle school education, okay? But she knew that school was where we needed to be. She made sure we were there. All of us graduated college. But if you're not getting that because maybe your parents are working 3 jobs, you come to school, you're hoping that somebody is encouraging you to do that. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. So we sat down in a meeting and started talking about why aren't students motivated? Why aren't students proud of being black and proud of achieving? And one person brought up the fact that, here you have Jewish students who talk about the Holocaust and are very passionate about it, and that drives